Welcome to Deep Thought. You never really know what's beneath the surface. You never really know. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about that because how often do we ourselves, look at someone or look at a situation and think, oh, it's this way, or they're innocent, or they're harmless, or, you might look at a person and think they're not that bright or anything. But beneath the surface is something totally different. Like I knew this guy back in the day, rest his soul. And if you look at him, he was just a giant, he looked like a giant guy on the spectrum. I'm not going to lie. Loved him to death, respected him, saw him as a mentor. But when I first saw him, you would just think he's just a big guy on the spectrum, just on a look. But when you get to know him, he was one of the most intelligent men I've met in life. And that's why I would call him a mentor. He could just give you wisdom, and he was smart beyond belief. And he worked a modest job. He worked at a book stand in downtown DC. And the thing was, he would converse regularly with attorneys, with accountants, with executives. And he would hang with them. He would hang with them and even school them on some things. And one of the things, I got a lot of financial advice from him because even though he had a modest job, he got paid directly, and he had a buildup of money because he didn't have a house note. He was living in a house left to him by his father. He didn't have a car note. He didn't drive. But he was, if you looked at him on the surface, you wouldn't think much. And that's just one example. I'm thinking about this other young lady I met, and she was a dangerous individual. She looked super innocent, though, but she put her boyfriend through some hell, even stole something from him, a car. Yeah. And then those are just people. You have situations with, I'll say you have some situations with what's going on in the world. You might see one thing, but there's a lot going on. Like I don't get much into politics because I don't want to take this channel in that direction, but regardless of what you see happening publicly, and regardless of the arguments you see with people publicly, both sides of the coin, Democrats and Republicans, they get along way better behind closed doors than you realize. And a lot of it's already for show. And that's something in politics anyway. The decision was already made. Any arguments made, it was, it's for the show, for the people. And, my point with all of this is, yes, in general, you can say take things at face value and definitely pay attention to it, but always realize that there's more going on. There's more things happening. That's a key thing. That is a key thing to always keep into consideration. You just never know. And see, that's an important thing. Now, I mentioned two instances, one good, one bad, but also never underestimate anybody. Never look at them and base your opinion on them on something superficial. Only thing you can look at superficially is what they present. Very, very, very few people have the skill to read deeper than that. It's possible. And even in those situations, somebody could be a profiler for the FBI. Somebody could be an expert at reading body language. And you still don't know. You still don't know. Like on my main channel, I've talked about demon lovers. Now, those are people, men and women, who, let's just say they different. Let's just say they have different spirits. It's way deeper than I've ever said publicly, and I'm still not going to say. But let's just say they have different spirits. But if you look at them, the profile of them, they actually look above average and they look innocent on the surface. They don't look like they hurt anybody, which makes them effective. They look the sweetest. I remember a mentor who told me about, first told me about demon lovers, Master Yao Yamache Morris. He pointed out one he dealt with. And the whole time I'm like, her? I'm like, her? Seriously. I'm like, wait a minute. She's trouble. And she was just a smiley, innocent looking, even a little awkward. But then I thought about that other woman I mentioned who like robbed a friend of mine. I was like, okay. But you never know. But here's another angle to it. What if you meet somebody and you make assumptions about them because of their physicality? You might say, oh, they ain't that big. They're not dangerous. Or, oh, they don't have much going on. They're not smart or anything. You can actually hurt yourself, and you can actually underestimate somebody. And that could be dangerous for you. Like, have you ever seen a time when a bully or mess with somebody, say, oh, they don't know anything, and then, the person they picking will turn into the exorcist. Be like, you can't leave yet. Seriously. It's always more. One of the things I do, whenever I do make a read. Now, I'm very, very good at reading people. Very good. But even then, I call it my initial reading. I don't come to any conclusions until I have a conversation with them and talk with them. Because I've made that mistake before, and people have made that mistake with me. And it's kind of funny how I get underestimated. So I said, let me use it. So as a result of experiencing that, every time I encounter somebody, I just sit back and I just listen. Yeah, I make an initial assessment, but then I say, okay, let me pay attention to everything. Let me listen for clues, every little thing. And there have been occasions when I've been surprised by someone who I got to know better. It's an interesting dynamic. And I want just people to think about it, because on this channel, it's about thinking. It's all about thinking. Think about it. Don't make assumptions. Unless you know for sure, don't assume anything about someone or what they represent unless they specifically tell you that. And even then, honestly, you still might not know because, well, people lie. But always keep an eye out. There's always more. If you scratch the surface of a lot of people, you'll find a whole lot. Because I've talked about it before, even when you're talking about people, most of us wearing some type of mask. Even at my age now, there's still some elements of a mask left. Because that's how deep it is. It's tough to get rid of it totally. That's just the society we in. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I want y'all to think on what I'm saying. Peace and blessings.